Good evening and welcome to From the AD's View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. Before I get started, as I do every show, I'd like to give honor to God, who's the head of my life, because without him, none of the things that I do would be possible. As you see, we have our special guest on the show today, Mr. Jake Scherrer. And Jake is a athletic administrator. He's a part of the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Welcome to the show, Jake. How are you?
Well, thank you so much for having me on, Dr. Brown. I've been following your podcast for a while and very honored and humbled to be on as a guest.
Appreciate that, Jake. So, real quickly, Jake, if I ask you what professional development means in the world of athletics, give me a quick sentence on what that means to you.
Well, I think it's extremely valuable and necessary for an athletic director's growth, and it's something that ADs want to do for their staff, but sometimes they just don't have the time to do it.
Yes, sir. And if I talk to you about servant leadership in athletics, what does that mean to you, Jake?
Well, I think the term personifies the role of the athletic director today, particularly at the high school level, because they're in it for the kids. They truly are servant leaders.
These and more topics we'll talk about on From the AD's View. Let's get it. Welcome back to the show. Again, this is Dr. Cedric Brown. I'm your host on From the AD's View, and our guest today is Mr. Jake von Scherrer. And Jake, tell us a little bit about yourself, sir. I know that you've been in the business for a long period of time, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, I'm a career educator, retired a couple years ago after 41 years as a teacher, a coach, and an athletic director. I was very fortunate to work in a lot of different parts of the country. I was born and raised in Oregon, started my career there, kind of climbed the coaching ladder, small school, big school, bigger school, coached junior college in Oregon, and then got on a college coaching carousel that took my wife and I, who was also a career coach, to Missouri, to Vermont, to North Florida, then across the country to San Jose, California. We went to Arkansas, and then about 22 years ago, we settled in Florida, where we finished our career, and like I said, retired just a couple years ago.
Wow, so much experience, such a talented couple in athletics, both on our men's side, on our women's side. Um, Jake, I took a class that you were a part of, a continuing education unit class at the NIAAA conference in Denver, Colorado, a couple of years ago. What does professional development mean to athletic administrators as they progress through their careers?
Well, we talk about, again, different people will tell you different things, but I think, overall, I think we talk about two things being critical to the success of a teacher, a coach, and in this case, an athletic administrator. One of them is networking, building your network, creating that list of go-to people. If you're experiencing a challenge at your school, I guarantee you that the AD or the coach down the road or across the country is experiencing that same thing. So establishing your network is critical. The other piece, as you said, is professional development, to be and to embrace being a lifelong learner. I was certainly there coming out of college. I thought I played college football, I ran track, and I know what I'm doing. And the expression "you don't know what you don't know"
What you don't
certainly
know.
applied to me. You mentioned the NIAAA, the professional development program that they have built and refined over the years is just fantastic. And I'm so fortunate to to be able to continue to be a part of it as a member of the national faculty.
And the conference this year coming up, Jake, Denver was great. It was fantastic. It was in December, and you get to see snow. And my wife came with me, my sister-in-law, brother-in-law, two of our best friends. So we kind of made a vacation out of it there in Denver. But there's an exciting place that is going to be this December. Can you talk to our audience a little bit about that?
Absolutely. This year's conference is going to be in Orlando, Florida, which is about a 35-minute drive from my house. So I'm excited, to be there. It's always great to see your acquaintances, your professional colleagues, that network that I mentioned. It's going to be basically December 16th through the 19th. I might have missed one day there. There's going to be uh, just a wide variety of workshop sessions, the LTI courses. I believe every single one of the 53 LTI courses is being offered this year in Orlando. It's incredible. Tremendous speakers, keynotes, and professional enhancement speakers are going to be there. And hey, it's Orlando. It's Florida in December. Who wouldn't want to leave the snow and the cold behind and come down for a great week and weekend of professional development?
Absolutely. And for our audience members, Jake, that may not understand exactly what the NIAAA offers to um, aspiring, I should say, athletics administrators, you have levels that you have. Like you are a CMAA, you have RAAs. Can you talk to the audience a little bit about when you first come into the association and how you can uh, elevate yourself in the association, but also elevate yourself in your career as you're going along?
No, absolutely. And I want to also say that the NIAAA, the national organization, works with every single state. Your state association, or you have a state association, whatever state you're in, and they are, maybe they don't have to be, but they can be that first step in getting involved, because your state is going to have its own annual conference. If you can't make it down to Florida, or next year it's going to be in Austin, Texas, if you can't make it to one of the nationals, your state association has an annual conference, and they offer workshops, and they offer the leadership training courses, LTCs, at your own state. And whether you take the course at the state level or at the national level, um, on their own, they're fantastic professional development opportunities. And the courses are separated. There's 53 courses right now, and I think they're unveiling at least two, maybe even four new courses this year. But they're set up in levels. The 500 level courses, there's 8 courses. Those are called the foundational courses. And those are required courses to lead to the first level of certification, where you complete these courses. You have a matrix that you fill out as far as experiential points. And again, your state association leader can help you do that, or I can help you do that too if you can't get a hold of them. But the CAA, Certified Athletic Administrator, is the first level of certification. You will sit for an exam. You can do it at the state level, you can do it at the national conference. It's 100 multiple choice questions. It's very comprehensive, but if you've taken the courses and you follow the review materials, there's extremely high success rate. Now, not required, but very highly recommended. There's two other levels. They're not certifications, but they can add to your professional resume. And you mentioned the RAA, the Registered Athletic Administrator. To become an RAA, you need to complete a couple of the foundational classes. You have to be an athletic director at some. You can be a brand new AD, but after you've completed those courses, you can submit the paperwork to become a registered athletic administrator. And having that um, title behind your name sets you apart from a lot of athletic administrators who just haven't done it yet. And in hiring or in professional development, that's something that a principal is going to look at.
Yes, sir.
There's one, I know I'm going on here. There's another
Oh,
registration. The NIAAA and your state association wants to partner with middle school athletic directors. Sometimes they feel left out. There's a registered middle school athletic administrator credential, if you will.
yes,
You have
sir.
to take the same foundational courses. You have to take the 2 middle school courses. So there's a couple additional courses. I'm actually on the faculty for both of those courses, which are going to be offered in Orlando. And then you can become a registered middle school athletic administrator. And then the final certification is the CMAA, Certified Master Athletic Administrator. You have to take the foundational courses. You have to have earned your CAA, and then you need to take uh, courses from the 600 and 700 levels. 600 is operations and management. Maybe it's budget, maybe it's fundraising, but there's 22 600 level courses. Then you have to take a couple of courses from the 700 level, the leadership courses. That's the course that you took,
Very
partnering with
comprehensive.
parents.
Yes, sir.
There's one about mentoring coaches, and there's 23 leadership courses. After you've taken that coursework, you have to submit a project, and I can talk about that later. I'll take a breath here.
Yes, sir.
But when you have earned that CMAA, you've joined a very elite group. Statistically, if you take all the CMAAs that have been certified by the NIAAA, and you
Mm-hmm.
look at all the athletic directors that are currently at a middle school or high school in the United States, only about 4% have attained that CMAA
Wow.
designation. And we want to see more do it. But right now, if you're a CMAA, you're part of a very elite group.
Elite group. Yeah, that is awesome. Thank you for that, Jake. And I think that it's important for our viewers and anyone that will watch this episode to understand that, right? Because having the understanding helps you be better at what you do and helps you understand the trajectory that you want to go in your career. Jake, do me a favor, stay with us. We're going to be back after we go to a commercial break. You're watching From the 80s View. I'm your host, Dr. Cedric Brown. We will be right back after this break.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What would we do without it?
From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Jake, when we talked about earlier with professional development, we also spoke about a little bit before the show. We talked about how servant leadership is something that is profound to athletics administrators. What does not professional development, what does servant leadership mean to you, Jake?
Well, as I mentioned, I think no other profession other than athletic directors, and we can have college ADs in there too, um, really personifies that the phrase servant leadership. You'll hear coaches, parents, you name it, talk about, well, hey, what's best for the kids, or we're in it for the kids. Well, athletic directors, they're not in it to make that six-figure salary. They're not in it for the bucks. It's certainly a nice thank you at the end of the day, but um, you look back at your own athletic career. What high school? How many of your high school teammates, whatever sport you were involved with, how many of those teammates went on to become coaches and teachers? Not that many. How many of the ones that became coaches and teachers chose to go over to the other side of the desk and become athletic directors? Not that many. So it is truly a calling, and it's looking at, well, how can we create a great experience for this middle school athlete, for this freshman athlete, for this high school athlete? We all see the headlines about, this school sends so many kids off to college on signing day, and that's great, and we celebrate the heck out of that. But as you know, that's going to be about, let's be optimistic. 5% of our high school athletes are going to go on to college. That high school AD, what are you doing for the other 95% of your kids? And that's where this whole term of servant leadership comes in. Uh, Letting them leave high school with that great athletic experience. And, there's a lot of different ways you can try to do that. But for me, that's that servant leader. You're doing it because you love sports, you love all the things that it allows you to do as a leader, as an educator, as a coach of the coaches, if you will. But you're doing it for the kids.
Yes, sir. And that servant leadership piece, as I grew into the career and I grew into understanding what athletics administration was about, that aha moment kind of went on, and it clicked like, wow, I am here in service of the stakeholders who are our student athletes. I am here in service of the coaching staff, because as athletics administrators, we coach the coaches, right? We are there to help them get better, to how to deal with the student athlete, how to um, uh, get that student athlete to be the best versions of him or herself, and how to have that student athlete be able to go to heights that he or she never thought that they could get to, right? And motivating them and encouraging them to be the best versions that they could be, both, on the field of competition, on the court of competition, or off, right? As the student athlete, um, in your role, in the role that you have, Jake, in the many roles that you've had in your career, um, mentoring and counseling of coaches and upcoming athletics administrators. What has that done for you in your role as a leader, right? And what influence has that played on individuals that you have shared your experiences and your wisdom with?
Well, it's a circular relationship. We are all mentored. We have our mentors. Some were high school coaches, some were college coaches, some are athletic directors that I've met over my 41 years as an active coach or AD. And I have been mentored. And as I worked with the coaches at our school, or with the student athletes at our school, and sometimes with the parents at our school, as you mentor them, you're passing on those lessons those best practices, as we like to say, to that generation and helping them, if they're a coach, helping them mentor the student athletes they're working with. If it's a mentoring relationship you have with the current AD, you're allowing them to have a greater impact on their school. And again, it's kids, it's coaches, it's parents. Um, and it just continues to come full circle. I was just yesterday was working at the state cross country championships here in Florida, and saw, because I've done this for a long time, dozens and dozens of former athletes, former coaches from my school. I had two coaches come up, Jake, hey, it's great to see you, and coaches and ads from other schools that have, like you, sat in a class that I might have taught, and hearing their positive experiences just reinforces me, and that I want to continue to stay involved in this profession, and try to help make the profession better, and help other people get better too. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but it's kind of a synergistic relationship.
Yes, sir.
You just get charged up even more because of those individuals coming back and sharing with you the experience that they had.
Yes, sir. And you'd mentioned something before, Jake. You'd mentioned not only mentoring, but you'd mentioned networking, right? So that's what happens when you go to conferences like the NIAAA conference, or I'm a member of the National Association of Basketball Coaches, and we have the conference every year that is connected to the Final Four. How important is it for an aspiring athletics administrator or an individual inside of athletics in whatever, silo they may be in? How important is networking to their career path and the trajectory?
Oh, I will tell people it is the most important thing that you can do. I use the toolbox metaphor. It's the most important tool that you can have. And then you got to use it because it is so easy to use. And it's something that I failed to use for the early part of my career. I just didn't understand how important it was. If you are a young AD, a veteran AD, when you get that new job, when you get that first job, call up or go visit the school down the road and introduce yourself to that athletic director. Hey, I'm Jake von Scherrer. I just got hired as the AD or as the coach at this school. Just wanted to reach out and say hello. Add them to your network. There's no other profession like athletic directors that is so willing to help and connect. I have not come across another one. Maybe there is, but athletic directors, coaches, and I was a head football coach for years. Coaches
Yes,
are going
sir.
to keep things close to the vest. We'll
They
share a
will.
little bit, but we're not going to share everything. Athletic directors can't wait to share stuff. So reach out and build that network. And you talked about, career advancement. Whether you spend the next 38 years at that very same school,
Yes, sir.
or if you're looking for, a bigger school, a different school, a school in a different part of the country, that connection that you have, it just might be the one connection that separates you from the rest of the candidates for that particular job. Oh, so and so, or that person can write you a letter. I just got to call you. I was driving to that cross country meet. I got a call from a colleague here in Florida. They said that they, were up for another job. Would I, write them a letter of recommendation? Absolutely. Okay. So again, the networking, professional development, it's right up there. But I would say networking is 1A, professional development is 1B.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we are talking with Mr. Jake von Scherrer, an experienced athletics administrator, 41-year career in college, in interscholastic athletics, done a variety of things. In your retirement right now, Jake, you're enjoying being what I would deem as an official for athletics, a mentor for athletics. You backstage, you said that you and your wife have just come off of I would call it a country tour of things as you were celebrating some milestones for your former athletes. Jake, you've done some amazing things, and I've had an opportunity to sit in one of your continuing education courses as I was trying to attain one of my certifications before I came back to the college level. Jake, if individuals would like to get in contact with you, how can they do that, Jake?
Well, very easily. My email, it's Jake's Touchdown, all one word, Jake's Touchdown at gmail.com. Jake's Touchdown's also my Twitter handle. I'm fairly active on Twitter. As you know, I'm also a podcast host.
Yes,
So we
sir.
publish our episodes on Twitter and LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as well. If you want to give me a call, I have no problem giving out my cell phone. It's 305 218 1325. And I also do some consulting. I'm, I'll say a very fairly active speaker. If you're looking for a program for your coaches or your parents, you can find me at Victory Educational Athletics, victoryeducationalathletics.com. And in addition to the podcast, I've got some books too. I've got 2 copies right here. Our podcast has has a feature we call the Athletic Director's Toolbox. Tips from athletic directors, the top 20 tools for success. This is the 2nd edition. Of course, there's a 1st edition also, and the 3rd edition of the toolbox is actually going to be coming out on December 1st, and all 3 are available at Amazon. We also have a book we're very proud of. This came out in September. It's called All-Star Athletic Director. We interviewed 10 women athletic directors, all from the state of Florida. They gave us 3 different perspectives from their school, public school, private school, faith-based school. And so there's 30 chapters in All-Star Athletic Director. All of these books are on Amazon. They're just $9.99, and proceeds go towards our State Athletic Director Association. So Athletic Director's Toolbox and All-Star AD. Thank you for that shameless self-promotional plug.
No, absolutely. We appreciate it. And you did better plugging your books than I did plugging mine. And it's my podcast. And so, if we can't enjoy ourselves and sometimes laugh at ourselves, then what are we doing this for? But in closing, Jake, before we go, really quickly, I'd like to ask all of my guests a simple question. Jake, what does faith or what does spiritualness mean to you?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. And I think it's something that very often gets lost in the conversation. Whatever, yeah, as a listener, if you're watching this, you really need to, you should, base your life on your faith. I'm not here to preach to you, but you have to believe, you should believe in some higher power.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I am a believer. I'll say it, with no apologies. I'm a believer. I try to live my life so that I am bringing honor and glory, and for my family, for the people I've been able to reach, that have reached me as well. Whatever faith you choose to follow, I hope it is the foundational standpoint of your life.
Absolutely. Well said, Jake. And I appreciate you. And Jake, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it. And I hope sometime that I can reciprocate the opportunity and come on your show and share experiences and thoughts in this wonderful industry that we're in. So thank you very much, Jake.
Oh, well, thanks for having me on. And absolutely, we would love to have you come on our podcast, which we just call the Educational AD Podcast. So, thanks again for having me on. I enjoy what you're doing. I think we both have a similar mission. We're just trying to share best practices with those in our profession.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'd like to thank Mr. Jake von Scherrer for being on our show today. As I always do at the end of the show, I just want to continue to encourage those that are in the industry of athletics or in the industry of education to continue to follow your dreams, to continue to increase your network of individuals to help you pursue your dreams. And I thank you so much for being a part of this episode. Good night and God bless.